Hey mom, today was a normal day at school, but it left me thinking about how quickly the ground is shifting under what we call work. Vibe coding, as I understand it, is a modern software development approach where you describe what you want to build in natural language and an AI generates the code for you. The emphasis moves away from syntax and technical execution and toward ideas, intent, and judgment. On the surface, this looks like a technical change, but it feels more like a cultural one. It hints at a future where work is less about executing tasks and more about steering tools, systems, and outcomes. One of the clearest lessons is that work is moving away from execution and toward direction. Vibe coding doesn't eliminate the need for engineers, but it does lower the barrier to building functional software. When building something becomes faster and cheaper, the real leverage shifts to deciding what should be built at all. Direction requires context, judgment, and an understanding of people, not just systems. It's about knowing which problems are worth solving and which are distractions. This feels especially relevant when I think about my first graders. By the time they enter the workforce, many forms of execution may be automated, but the ability to choose meaningful problems and steer tools toward them will still be human work. Direction doesn't disappear when technology advances. It becomes more valuable. The person who can frame a problem clearly and choose a sensible path forward will matter more than the person who can execute a narrow task perfectly. This means that language itself is becoming a form of technical leverage. With vibe coding, your ability to describe an idea clearly, precisely, and with the right constraints directly affects the outcome. This puts communication at the center of creation. Writing, speaking, and even having a feel for nuance suddenly carry real economic weight. It's not just about being understood. It's about translating fuzzy human intent into something a machine can act on. This makes me think differently about education. Skills we often treat as soft, like articulation and clarity of thought, may end up being some of the hardest and most valuable skills to develop. Tools can generate outputs, but they still rely on human input to set direction and constraints. If you can't express what you want, you can't effectively use the tool. That makes learning how to think clearly and communicate well a form of future-proofing. This is also where taste becomes a deciding factor. Taste isn't about style in a superficial sense. It's about judgment. It's the ability to recognize what works, what feels off, and what aligns with real needs. Two people can use the same tools and get very different results, not because one is more technical, but because one has better taste. As execution becomes easier, taste becomes scarcer. It's shaped by experience, exposure, and reflection, not tutorials. What's interesting is how quietly this is all unfolding. Today didn't feel revolutionary, but underneath that normalcy is a future where job titles matter less, tools do more, and human value concentrates around direction, language, systems thinking, and taste. Vibe coding is just an early signal. If this is the direction work is heading, then preparing for the future isn't about chasing specific roles or technologies. It's about developing judgment, clarity, and the ability to adapt as systems change. For my students, that may matter far more than learning any particular tool that will be obsolete by the time they grow up. I ate chicken and rice from the market for dinner with the koi fish, and that was it for my day. Okay, love you. Bye.